Good morning children, welcome to NEET AIPMT Foundation. This is biology session. You are watching sexual reproduction in plants part 3. The flowering plants, they show sexual reproduction. Okay. In the past two videos we have completed the formation of gametes, and that is a microspore and the megaspore. In the last class we have discussed about the structure of ovule, how the ovule is formed, what is its structure, what are the types of ovules. What are the types of ovules, children? There are 6 types of ovules: orthotropous, erect ovule, anatropous, inverted ovule, hemitropous, half inverted ovule, campylotropous, the body curved ovule, amphitropous, the body and embryo sac curved ovule, circinotropous, funiculus, coiled around the ovule. These are the different types of ovules. And apart from this, the campylotropous, okay, the anatropous is the most common type of ovule we have discussed. What are the main parts of ovule? Funicle, chalaza, micropyle. Okay, based on their positions only, these are the different types of ovules. And we discussed about the pollination in the end. What is pollination? The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther of a flower to the stigma of the same flower or genetically similar flower. It is called self-pollination. It is also called autogamy. More about the pollination we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, are you ready, children? Let us proceed. Autogamy or self-pollination. It is a type of self-pollination in which the intersexual or perfect flower is pollinated by its own pollen. Okay, it is of different types. What are they? Chasmogamy means autogamy takes place in 3 circumstances, 3 conditions. What are they? Chasmogamy. Chasmogamy means the pollination occurring after the flower opens and exposes the reproductive organs. Opening of flowering is called as chasmogamy. Okay, during that time this self-pollination may occur. Example: mirabilis, potato, sunflower. Okay. Next, cleistogamy. Cleistogamy, as the flower never opens, so there is no alternative of self-pollination in cleistogamous flower. Example: Commelina bengaliensis. Okay. The flower remain closed, so that only self-pollination. Cleistogamy, chasmogamy, these are the 2 circumstances. And the next, bud pollination. The self-pollination flowers, pollinated flowers, here in several cultivated plants, the self-pollination occur in the bud condition before the flower opens. So example, you can take wheat, tobacco, tomato, linseed, jute, rice, etc. Okay. So this is a self-pollination, transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower, belongs to same species, or the different flowers belongs to same species. Okay. So here the self-pollinated flowers develop many devices like direct touch of anthers and stigma at maturity by bending of filaments. See, like this, sometimes it will bend by bending of the filament, okay, of the stamens on stigma. In Mirabilis jalapa, it occurs, or by curving of style to carry stigma on the ripe anthers. In Solanum tuberosum, in brinjal, it occurs. Okay. Okay. Let us proceed. Now, cross pollination. Cross pollination is also called allogamy or xenogamy. Okay. It is defined as the deposition of pollen grains from anther of a flower to the stigma of different flowers of another plant. Okay, different flowers of same plant, that is self pollination. Different flowers of another plant of same species, this is the cross pollination. It is also known as allogamy or xenogamy. Okay, what is cross pollination? It is a process of transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of genetically different plant of same species. This is a perfect definition. Okay, transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of genetically different plant of same species. It is known as xenogamy or allogamy. Okay. Here also some controversies are there. There are special devices or mechanisms which favor the cross pollination. Okay. What are they? First, decline, or it is also called unisexuality. The flowers, when they are all unisexual, means male and female flowers separate, only allogamy is possible, means cross pollination is possible. There are two types of flowers, male and female. The plants may be monoecious, means separate, male, female. Dioecious means within. The monoecious is a plant species in which the male and female organs are found on the same plant but in different flowers. For example, we can consider maize. Dioecious means it is a plant species in which the male and female organs appear on separate individuals. Example, Morus alba, mulberry, pepper beetle, Vallisneria. Okay. So, dioecious plants is that in which male and female flowers appear on separate individuals. Okay. So, here the cross pollination, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of different species of different we can say different plants of same species. Okay. It is known as allogamy or xenogamy. Okay. Next contrivances, that is self sterility. The pollen of the flower, self sterility. The pollen of the flower has no fertilizing effect on the stigma of the same flower. So, example, Theacensis, passiflora, the passion flower, these show the self sterility. Next, dichogamy, the male and female sex organs mature at different times. There are two different conditions. Okay, what are the two different conditions? Protandry and protogyny. What is protandry? Protandry means the anther or male reproductive organ matures earlier than the female reproductive organ, that is gynoecium. Example, sunflower, Helianthus anus, Tagetes, marigold, China rose, hibiscus, okay, cotton, gossypium, lady's finger. So, these are all the plants which show the protandry, means where the male reproductive organ, that is anther, matures earlier than the gynoecium, so that self fertilization is prevented. Next, protogyny, where the gynoecium matures earlier than anther or stamens. Another the contrivances for cross pollination, that is a heterostyly. Heterostyly means in some plants the flowers have two, means dimorphic, or three trimorphic forms of anthers and stigmas at different levels. Okay. dimorphic or trimorphic forms with anthers and stigmas at different levels. One form has short stamens and a long style, and the other has long stamens and short style. Means the position of these stamens and the gynoecium is different. So, based on the difference in length, the phenomenon is called as a heterostyly. Example, Phagopyrum is a buckwheat, Oxalis, it is a wood sorrel, Linum, linseed, shows this heterostyly controversy which favors the cross pollination. Okay. Another, hercogamy is the last controversy for cross pollination. Hercogamy means the male and female sex organs are so placed in a flower that the pollen grains from the anther are unable to reach the stigma in the same flower. So, you can see this in Calotropis, Madder, Salvia, Saga, that is, okay, Gileadu, Calotropis. So, it is the presence of the hercogamy is the presence of natural physical barrier between the androecium and gynoecium, which helps in avoiding the self pollination. In Calotropis stigmai, gynoecium is fused with the pollinium. Again, Calotropis, what happened means the gynoecium fused with the anthers to form a gynostegium, and the pollination can occur through insects only. So, that is called hercogamy. Okay. The types of pollination and the agents of pollination. So, the agencies which transfer the pollen grains from anther to the stigma of different flowers, they are called pollinating agents. They are as follows: the wind pollination, pollination by wind. Okay, it is also called anemophily. This terminology is very important, children. Listen carefully. Anemophily. The wind pollinated flowers, they are generally unisexual. For example, coconut palm, date palm, maize, many grass plants, cannabis, etc. Okay, anemophily. Anemophily is an abiotic means of pollination by wind, and being non-directional is a waste process actually. The anemophilous flowers have exerted stigmas and anthers. The pollen grains are very light, small and dusty. So, they are dry and unwettable. The stigma is hairy, feathery or branched to catch the wind-borne pollen grains. Okay. The pollen grains are produced in large quantities, small, smooth and dry. The wind pollination is not precise, as it involves the movement of the pollens over long distances with respect to the direction of the wind. In some plants, in Pinus, the pollen grains are winged type, okay, to fly in the air. Next, hydrophily or water pollination. The mode of pollination through the agency of water is not very common and occurs only in a few aquatic plants, especially submerged water plants like Vallisneria, Ceratophyllum and Zostera. In Zostera marina, a totally marine submerged plant, the pollen grains are elongated 2500. Okay. So, that is very long, okay, millimeters or inches. The needle like and without an exine. Okay, actually the pollen grains have exine and intine. So, without exine in this Zostera, the pollen grains are carried by water, and when they reach the stigma, they coil around it and germinate. Okay. So, here hydrophily means the mode of pollination through the agency of water is called hydrophily. It is of two types, epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. Epihydrophily means which takes place on the surface of water, example Vallisneria. Hypohydrophily means includes the plants which are pollinated inside the water, Ceratophyllum, Najas and Zostera. These three are the examples of a hypohydrophily. Okay, the hydrophilous flowers are small and inconspicuous. Nectar and odor are absent. Okay, no need. Then stigma is long, sticky but unwettable. The pollen grains are small, light-weighted, non-sticky and coated by wax. Okay, so that is hydrophily. Next, insect pollination, that is entomophily. Pollination by wind is called aimophily. Pollination by insect is called as a entomophily. Okay, insects are the most common pollinators there. The flowers producing the nectar and fragrance to attract the insects, and the flowers are also with bright colors. Attract the insects is the main motto regarding the color and fragrance. The most common insect pollinators are moths, flies, butterflies, wasps, bees, beetles. Okay, the pollination by insect, you can see here a honey bee carrying the pollen. So in entomophilous flowers, they are generally showy or brightly colored. Okay, most insect pollinated flowers have a landing platform. The edible pollens are usually produced in such flowers. Example, clematis. The entomophilous flowers usually produce specific odors, means fragrance, to attract the specific insects. The outer surface of the pollen grain may be rough, spiny and bears a yellow, oily, sticky substance which is called as a pollen kit. Okay, so that as soon as the fly, okay, actually these insects will reach the bottom, so that the nectar is present here. So while they are coming out, their body touches this anthers where the pollen grains will stick to the body. When they reach the another flower, then the stigma receives the pollen grains. Okay, next, bees and the butterflies commonly pollinate the flowers of Asteraceae and Labiataceae, means the sunflower and okay, chrysanthemum, those plants. The pollination by birds, it is called as ornithophily. The pollination by birds is common in coral tree, bottle brush, Butia monosperma and silk cotton tree. So these are the examples of the plants which undergo the pollination by birds. Okay, they show the plenty of nectar and large quantities of pollen. Okay, pollination by birds is called ornithophily. Ornithophilous flowers have tubular, that is Nicotiana glauca example. Cup shaped Callistemon is another example, or on shaped, some members of Ericaceae family, corollas. Okay, the flowers are bright colored and produce large quantities of pollen and plenty of nectar. Their pistils and stamens usually project beyond the perianth lobes, means sepals and petals. The common bird pollinated plants are bombax, erythrina, callistemon, Butia monosperma. Okay, these are the examples. Ornithophilous flowers are very brightly colored, such as red, yellow, orange, blue, with which attract the birds from long distances. Hummingbird pollinates while hovering over the flower and sucking the nectar. Okay, the pollination by bats, it is called as chiropterophily. Chiropterophily. The bats are nocturnal flying mammals which move swiftly and transport the pollen grains to long distances. Okay, so the pollination agency of bats is called Chiropterophily. Chiropterophilous flowers open only at or after dusk, okay, with the anthers dehiscizing almost at the same time. So, the flowers are very large, they are dull colored and have strong scent. They produce abundant pollen grains. Chiropterophily is found in some examples. Flowers produce abundant pollen grains and secrete more nectar more than the ornithophilous flowers. The bats carry the pollen in Adansonia and Kygelia. Adansonia, Kygelia, and another examples are also there, Bahunia, Anthocephalus. Okay, these are the examples of the flowers which show the pollination by bats, that is Chiropterophily. Okay. Next, need and significance of pollination. Why actually the pollination is important? The pollination leads to fertilization. The pollination is an essential event before fertilization, okay, and the production of the seeds and flowers, these are all as a result of pollination and fertilization only, which ensure the continuity of plant life. The pollination, especially cross pollination, results in the production of the plants with a combination of characters from the two plants, means hybrid. The good quality seeds are produced by cross pollination. That is why it is one of the method used in the hybridization process of plant breeding. The pollination prevents ovary abscission. It stimulates the growth of the ovary, means after fertilization only the further development continues. The role of pollination in the production of hybrid seeds has been of great significance. The seeds and fruits are also a source of nutrition for animals including humans. Okay? That is why pollination is an essential event, okay, in the sexually reproducing plants. Okay, hope you understood, children. Please read the book. Thank you for watching our video. Have a good day.